Hello, good morning. Welcome in. Music lover, good morning. Welcome in. Luxo, good morning. Welcome. Hope you are doing well. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. So Tuesday and Wednesday, I actually did my master class tutorials on Tuesday and Wednesday. This week was an odd week because Father was away on a business meeting, and because I did Tuesday and Wednesdays as those tutorials, and then yesterday I was off, it's thrown my week right off. So today I'm actually just doing straight cooking. So I'm not really going to be doing a master class today, but we're still going to do something together here regardless. Welcome in, welcome in. Earthbound Misfit, good morning, my friend. Welcome in. Luxo, cheers. So I only have one camera working. The other one's giving me all kinds of warning messages, so that's up to Father to fix. So we'll just do the one camera again today, and then next week maybe get back to the regular groove of things. Joan, welcome in. Good morning. Nice to see you. Earthbound Misfit, how are you? Good morning, Joan. All right, so when you want to use up some things in the refrigerator, a stir fry is a good way to go. And there are a few things I need to use up, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. Just going to wash my hands. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. All right, so I'm going to be doing a beef and shrimp stir fry. So make sure you have a sharp knife. And so the first thing I want to do is clean up some peppers. So this pepper needs a bit of trimming. It's getting a little dry around the edges, so I want to just trim that off. And then I'm just going to discard that. Now you grab a bowl and you want to put your different ingredients in the bowl and start basically stockpiling your ingredients for your stir fry. So I want to use this green pepper up. going to give it a kind of a medium-sized dice. Nothing too fancy. Welcome in everybody. The Nuke Quantum Bunny, that's a good one. Nice, I like that handle. Welcome in. Good afternoon to you. Nice handle, I like that. Good afternoon, D4, welcome in. You're welcome, Nuka, you're welcome. Nuka Quantum Bunny, interesting, I like that. Welcome in everyone. So for those that are just getting here, I'm still down to one camera. I don't want to mess with it because it's Father's equipment. And I really don't want to mess around with it. So next week, we'll probably start back with two cameras. Rabina Bina, welcome in. Hope you had a nice birthday. Happy Friday to you. I know it's kind of obvious, eh? So, because now this is a bit of an off week. So Father Damien was off for most of the week for a work retreat. And therefore, on Tuesday and Wednesday, I kind of did my master class tutorials on those 2 days. And then yesterday I took off. So today I'm doing a straight cooking show. Just because this week's kind of messed up because of all that stuff that took place. So that's basically what I'm doing today. So we're going to do a beef stir fry. And I'm using up ingredients from the fridge that need to be used up. So there's like these peppers look a little mangled. So I want to use up these ingredients, trim off the bad stuff, take out the seed pods. Hope everybody's doing well. Oh, you're welcome, Rabina. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Much love to you too. Thanks for that. It's a nice compliment. Yeah, it's the birthday girl. I was going to just say that. Luxo. I was just thinking the same thing. All right. So you don't have to be too fancy, like I said. Cut the peppers from the flesh, like the inside of the pepper, to the outside. It's a lot easier to work with. And the knife goes through a lot easier as opposed to doing the outside. This is kind of tough, the skin. So even with a sharp knife, it's a bit of a resistance there. But if you start on the inside, the knife goes right through because you're already starting the momentum of the knife slicing, right? So that went through on that side, but I was hammering it with the back part of the knife here. No problem, Urbina, no problem. I understand. New Quantum, I'm doing okay, thank you. Oh, good. I hope you enjoy this show. for the stir fry. We can do it. We can actually go a couple of different routes with this. I can use a curry with it, or I can do straight up stir fry. No problem, D4. No problem. No problem. Take your time. Do what you got to do. I understand. Thank you. Thanks for being here. So if you don't want to do a big roll like this, just take half out. Make sure you're holding your knife properly, right? Like this. Grab the knife. Don't hold it like this back here. You have less control and you'll have more fatigue on your wrist, right? When you hold it like this. And like this even, right? Some people cut like that. You're going to put strain on your finger and your wrist. Grab it, pinch it here like this kind of thing, right? And then grip it like that. And then you have way more control and less fatigue on your hands and your wrists. And make sure, for those that you don't know what this cloth is for, it's to stabilize the cutting board, right? So I want to make sure the cutting board's stable so that it's not moving when I'm cutting. So just, if you don't have a cutting board that's got rubber or silicone on it, stabilize it with a damp cloth, whether it's wood or this type of material here. Wow, new quantum bunny. That's so nice. Very nice message. Wow, wow, very nice. Very sweet, very thoughtful. Thank you. Yeah, I hope everybody's doing well also. So just trim off this stuff. It's a bit awkward, right? Just trim that off. Get rid of that stuff. So I have some jumbo shrimps, 1620s, meaning, so that what that number means is there's 16 to 20 shrimp per pound typically in a package. So you're gonna get anywhere, you should get anywhere between those numbers of shrimp per pound. In a package, unless it's a 2 or 3 pound package, you're still going to get 16 to 20 shrimp in each pound of that package. So if you see those numbers on the packaging, you're not sure what they mean, that's what they mean. I don't have, so the shrimp was given to me, donated by someone in the chat, in fact. And so I don't have the label with me to show you, but on the packaging, you might see numbers like 2125, 3136, or something like that, or 11 to 15. Those are how many, that depending on, so the bigger the shrimp, right, the larger the shrimp, the lower the number. So you're going to see, yes, Luxo, you read my mind. Exactly. It's exactly what's going in there. And those other peppers. Nice. D4. Nice. How old's your son, if you don't mind me asking? D4. Oh, wow. Nuka Quantum Bunny, that's an excellent tip. Thank you for sharing that with everyone. Oh, wow, 25. Wow, wow. I thought he was just a little guy. I didn't realize he was 25. Wow, nice, nice. Chef. Luxo, I'm saying he read my mind about the peppers. Morning. How are you?
Good.
Can I get you anything?
No, I'm okay. I have a book.
Oh, okay. Thank you, thank you. I love that, Nuka Quantum Bunny. I think anyone for that matter, Luxo, anyone for that matter who has tips they wanna share with people, I'm all for that. As you know, for cooking and that. All right. So just keep chopping away. Just keep loading up your ingredients. So I'm going to be mixing the onions and the peppers together. And then once they start cooking, I'm also going to be adding mushrooms and some celery to this. And when you cut the end of the pepper off, just check in here because there could be bits of dirt in there. So just give it a rinse to be on the safe side. And then you can use a paring knife here if you want to trim that up. Or if you want, you can just reach in, twist it, and then pull that out. And then just discard that. If you want to salvage the seeds and plant them, depending on where you live and the time of year, you can do that too. Start them off in damp paper towel and put them in a glass or a jar or something like that, and then start them off. Get them sprouted and then plant them. Make sure they're non-GMO, otherwise you're not going to get any yield out of it. You'll get the plant, but you won't get any yield, pepper yield out of it. I've tested it, doesn't work. Yes, thank you, Nuka. Nuka, Quantum Bunny. Thanks, Luxo, for that. It's a great idea about the dish towel with the bread maker. Love that. All right. Now, got some nice fresh celery here. I'm going to trim off the ends, which are kind of discolored a bit. But now for the celery bits that are kind of, on the end, need to be trimmed and removed, don't throw those away. We're going to put those into our stock making bag. Wow, yeah, that's the problem with some of these machines. They vibrate so much they move. Yeah, it's too. I wonder if the rubber, maybe there's rubber feed on the bottom. Maybe it would. Maybe it still does it. I don't know. So Nuka Quantum Bunny, I make these bags. I don't know if you've been here before. I think you have, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I have these bags that I make, and I put trimmings. Like this one here's got turkey trimmings in it, and I'm putting my celery trimmings in it, and onions, garlic, carrots, that kind of stuff will go in these bags. You don't put peppers in here, but certain things, right? And then, so when you go to make your soups and your stocks, you just grab these bags out of the freezer, and then you're good to go instead of using fresh produce. All right, I pulled the stock off here. They've been washed, but as you can see, there's dirt trapped around the base here. So I'm going to wash it. I'm going to trim that off. I'm going to scrub this. Could be a stain. Yeah, it looks like a stain. But I'm still going to wash it anyways. There could be dirt back here. So you want to make sure it's well washed, just in case there's dirt trapped inside there. That goes in that bag. So that's a stain. But I don't want it because it looks dirty, right? So just going to get rid of it. And then this little bit here, just chop it up. Celery adds a nice flavor to your dishes. Oh, thanks, Nuka. Thank you. All right, so you kind of want to just chop these up. You can do one, you just cut them in 2 or 3, depending how big the stock is. And then if you want, you can cut them in half. And then you just judge how much you want to put in depending on how much meat you're going to be using. So it's adding color and some flavor balancing. So maybe I'll do a little bit more. Don't be afraid to use the leaves on the celery. They're very nice when they're cooked, especially when they're cooked, actually. And they're nice in salads too, this bit here. This is really beautiful, this stuff. Sauteed lightly with some garlic, a little olive oil, salt, pepper, and or put it into a salad raw. Really nice. Excuse me. Tara Moore, good morning. Welcome in. Nice to see you. Happy Friday to you as well. Because it looks stained, it's not going to be appealing, even though it's not dirt. It's been washed. It's not coming off. So just trim that off, right? People don't want to see that on their plate. So remove as much as you can. Try to salvage as much as you can. And you're good to go. Fallout. Oh, I played that game. That was pretty cool. That was on some platform. Stream. No, what was it called? Steam or something? That was pretty cool. Pretty cool game. I played that a number of years ago. Interesting. Okay, so now I was just gonna say something. Now I can't remember. Oh, Rabina Bina, that pie is here for you if you want it. That pumpkin pie. I put it in the freezer. So if you are coming by to get it, let me know and I'll package it up for you. If not, then someone in the chat's laying claim to it. Anyway, it's there if you want it. Interesting. Okay, so we've got our peppers and our celery in here. So we're going to do our prep first, then we're going to do our cooking. Now, you see this bag here? Store your mushrooms in a paper bag. Paper breathes, so you want to make sure you're using something that allows the mushrooms to breathe. Look, this is about a week and a half old. It's still in good shape. Look at this one. Right? So it depends where it is in the bag, but you're going to get, they're still good and fresh feeling. So you just snap out the bottom, hit it 2 parts, loosen it, 1, 2. Pull out the stems because they're tough. They've already been washed. Right? Snap that out. Those go in your stock making bag. This one's a little more age. So that could have been buried kind of in between or near the top maybe, who knows. Right, so you want to we're just going to slice these up, make a little bowl of them. We're going to add them to the stir fry. No problem, Tara. No problem. Thank you. Thank you. No problem. Uncle Stinky, welcome in. Welcome in. No problem, Tara. Take it easy and enjoy your drive. Have a safe drive. Have a great weekend. So you can put the mushroom like that, but it wants to move around. So just roll it over so it's flat, so it's easy to work with. Cut it in half, and then slice it up. Or cut it in half, and then slice it like that. If it's really big like this, then you can cut it into multiple slices. Just like that. They will shrink a little bit, and they're more of just kind of an added bonus in there. Maybe I'll do a few more. Oh, wow. Uncle Stinky, wow. Good enough. Good enough. You can do as many as you want. It's up to you how much you want to put of these ingredients. Then when you're done with the mushrooms, just seal up the bag and put it back in the fridge. And the moisture in the mushrooms, right, they keep each other fresh in the bag. And the bag, like I said, because it's paper, it's breathable. So that's good. That's what you want. If you put it in plastic, they're going to sweat and they're excuse me, they're going to deteriorate much faster. So try to avoid that. Now we're going to add, I just got to grab some ginger here. I think I've got ginger in here. Just give me a second. Yep. So, grab some ginger. You can peel the ginger with a peeler if you want, or you can just trim it. So snap a piece off. Just use a knife if you want. Trim it. Let's get rid of that. Don't put that in your stock bag. Don't put ginger in your stock bag. Every once in a while, wipe off your cutting board. Make sure it's clean to work with. Slice up the ginger. It's got a lot of fibers in it, the ginger, so it's going to be kind of tough to cut through. Let's put that off to the side for the time being. Grab some garlic. So here's the bulb, right? Couple of cloves of garlic. Get rid of this. You're not going to get any nutrients out of it. And then any leftover garlic, put it back in the fridge. Keep it fresh. Some people leave their garlic out. I don't. Refrigerator keeps it much longer than leaving it out. Yeah, Brussels sprouts are one of those, Uncle Stinky, one of those veggies. Most people are a bit put off by them. You know what's nice is if you saute them, like blanch them off first, or if you chop them up, like slice them up, you can saute them with some onions and cook up some bacon and chop it up and add it to them. Those are kind of two nice add-ons. Whether you just do the onions or you do the onions and bacon, chop them all up and then cook them, and then they're really good as a nice, a little bit of salt and pepper with it, and it really flavors them up nicely. Split the garlic open. Put your knife, use the flat part of your knife, and press down on it. Pull that off. Don't put that in your stock bag. Get rid of it. This little hard bit here, where it attaches to the bulb, right? Put that in your stock bag. Slice up your garlic. Now, combine the two together, the garlic and the ginger. Just give them a bit of a chop. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a bit of salt to this. And the salt acts as a grinding material. So we're going to puree them using the salt. We're going to put salt in the dish anyway, so we're adding more right now. The first bit of salt. So you want to use this part of the knife and the edge with the cutting board. Just do a rocking motion. And puree the garlic and the ginger so that when they cook, they dissolve more evenly. Right? So they're still kind of chunky. So now we kind of mashed them a little bit. Just chop them up, slice them up a little bit more. Just want to break them down as much as you can, and then give them one more of these. And then what you do is leave it off to the side of the cutting board and let them just activate. So what does that mean? The garlic and ginger have medicinal properties. So after you get them chopped or sliced or pureed, leave them off to the side, minimum a minute, minute and a half before you add them, before you start cooking them. And then what happens is they'll activate, and then you'll get those properties in your system when you eat them. They'll still help like the garlic. The garlic's good for cleaning your blood. Helps clean your blood. Helps lower cholesterol, that kind of stuff. The ginger's good for your immune system. So you'll still get the benefits if you didn't wait, but you'll get stronger benefits from them if you do wait. Luxo, cheers. All right, so now so we're going to use this beef. This is extra lean ground beef. I'm going to use this, maybe not all of it, but certainly a good portion of it. And then we're going to use that. That's the main component. We have to cut some onion up. All right, so now grab a good size skillet, put it on a low heat, get it activated. So the pan, I mean, that's a non-stick pan, but if you're using a cast iron pan or a stainless steel pan, put it on the low heat and heat the pan. Get rid of this stuff here, garbage. That goes in that bag. Gotta sharpen my knife, it's getting dull. So trim off this bit here on the end. This goes in the garbage. So now, that's garbage. Garbage, that's good. Get rid of that, put that in there. That's usable, get rid of that. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Don't even waste your time with this. You're not gonna get anything out of it for when you make a stock. And then trim off this bad stuff here. When you have to run your knife along your sharpening steel, make sure you give it a good cleaning. Welcome back. Welcome back, Newcomb Bunny. Easy on the swearing, you guys, please. Now, I'm not going to worry about doing I guess I should, actually. All right, so when you're dicing an onion, you see that root bit there? Right there? That's going to hold the onion together. So what I do is I move the cutting board to the edge of the counter so that I can get my knife in tighter on the dice. So my knuckles and that are off to the edge. They're on the outside of the countertop, right? So I'm doing a parallel cut, horizontal cut. And you leave about a centimeter from the end where that root part is, because that's holding everything together. So I did horizontal cuts, right? Now I'm going to do vertical cuts. And you get these little bits here. These aren't too bad, actually. Just put them off to the side. That's a bit tough there. Get rid of that. Right, see how it dices now? Because I did those cuts, right? You see any big pieces? Take them aside and cut them up. And then that bit there, you can throw that right in your stock bag, or you can trim it right down, whatever you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this off first. I was going to mix the onions with the peppers, but I'm going to start them first. So now turn your heat up on your pan a little bit more to about a medium. Now for those of you that are new, yeah, that's how they do it. That's how they do it. New quantum bunny. So the reason you heat your fry pan first, because there's pores in the metal. I mean, non-stick's non-stick, but you still should heat it up regardless first. Then add your cooking oil, fat, whatever you're using. Then add your whatever it is you're cooking. Then put it in the pan. For stainless steel pans, cast iron pans, it's critical to do that. So what happens is the pores in the metal open up, excuse me, with the heat. You can't see it, they're microscopic, right? You can't see them, but it does do it. They open up, and then you heat them up, open them up. Then you add your oil, your cooking oil, and then the oil fills in, you swirl it around in the pan, it fills in the pores, and then you heat the oil up briefly, and then you add your, excuse me, your product to it that you're going to be cooking. So I've just heated up the pan. I'm adding some oil to it. So I'm swirling the oil around to fill in the pores. This is a non-stick pan, but I'm just showing you. So if you're dealing with the other types I mentioned, you should still do it regardless. Heat up the oil. Clarky, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. Nice to see you. No problem. No problem. No problem at all. So we're going to start with the onions, the garlic, and the ginger. We're going to start that on a medium heat. We're going to cook them. And then once they start to break down, then I'm going to add the peppers. And then after that, we're going to add the mushrooms. So you do everything in stages. Actually, well, you can do it. So you can do it that way. You can do it that way. Or you can start off with the onions, the garlic, and the ginger. And then you can put the meat, start cooking the meat in the dish, for the stir fry. And then you can add the rest of the other components to it. So it's up to you how you want to do it. So I did half an onion, the other half, I'm going to just wrap it up. Just put some plastic wrap it up so it stays fresh and that it doesn't also permeate the fridge with onion flavor, onion scent. So I don't want it on a high heat. Do not put it on a high heat. It's unnecessary. You don't need to do that. Toss them a little bit if you can, and just coat them with the oil. And then keep them on the heat. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. I have this is pink Himalayan salt. And then black peppercorns. If you don't have pepper mills, just put salt and pepper. All right. So you just want to make sure that you're coating everything. As the oil warms up, as the onions warm up, it'll be easier to move, right? Because you're putting a cold or room temperature product into a semi-hot pan. So it's going to cool down the temperature. So you want to make sure that you're heating everything up evenly. And another reason you don't want to jack the heat up on that is, good morning, Mrs. Ellis. Mrs. Ellis, welcome in, welcome in. Nice to see you. We're doing a beef stir fry. So another reason you don't want the heat too high is because you're going to burn the garlic and the ginger. So you don't want to do that. Try to keep it at a medium high. All right. I'm going to use some banana pepper, which is frozen. And this wiri pepper here, which is also frozen. I'm going to put 2 of these, man. These things are deadly. I opened the bag and I'm already choking. Oh, wow. Clarky, major sleeping, eh? Wow. Mrs. Ellis, nice to see you. Hope you and your family are doing well. Great to have you here with us. So I store these types of peppers in the freezer just to prolong the life of them. Otherwise, because I don't use them too often, otherwise they'll end up in the garbage. So I like to try to utilize them as long as possible. some of the seeds there. Pull off the end bit. Seeds, we're going to pull them out. Because they're frozen, they kind of come out nice and easy. See that? Get rid of those. Couple seeds, not a big deal. Check the stuff on the stove. Don't ignore it. Every minute or two, go to the stove, give it a little shake the pan, or mix them around with the spatula. You'd want, so right now, we're sweating. This is called sweating. So it's not too high, it's not too low. It's just, you're literally sweating and waking up the onions, the garlic, and the ginger. That's what's happening there. Right? These hot peppers, we're going to add them to this mixture, which has the celery, red and green pepper. And then these suckers here are deadly, so give them a little flatten. Don't worry about the seeds. The seeds have the heat in them, and they're small enough that you could get away with it. When you're dealing with really hot, spicy peppers, make sure you wash your hands really well before you start touching your face, your eyes, etc. Be extremely careful with those. And then my advice is when you go to wash your cutting board, use cold water with soap, scrub it a few times, then rinse it maybe with hot water. If you use hot water on it right away, the fumes on here are going to come up, hit you right in the face, typically. All right, so now let me show you this here. So you want to make sure that you're getting a nice, evenly cooked mixture here. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some beef to this. Oh, thanks, Clarky. Thank you for that. Or you can wear gloves too. You can wear gloves as well. All right, so just grab some beef, put it in. Now you would be doing this on the stove. I'm just showing you this here. But certainly you do it on the stove while it's cooking. So we have a little extra, right? So I'm not sure if I'm going to use it, but I'm going to start with this. I don't want to put too much. See, the problem is if you put too much in the pan right away, it's harder to actually work with. Meaning, it's harder to move around. It's harder to toss it if you want to toss it. Plus, we're going to be adding other components, right? So you don't want to put too much in there right away, and it takes much longer to cook when it's all packed in there. You can always add to it after, but make sure you don't put too much in right away, because it's kind of creates more, kind of wreaks havoc on what you're doing. So after you touch the raw meat, wash your hands. That's what I was just doing. And then, like, okay, I showed you here, but then if you had to touch the handle of the pan, right, make sure your hands are clean and sterilized from the raw meat. Try not to touch raw meat and then, you're touching this, that. So you don't want to cross-contaminate anything in your kitchen. So always, whether it's raw fish, meat, whatever, always disinfect everything before you start moving stuff around and touching other things with it. Put it on a low heat, hit it with some salt and pepper, and keep in mind that you already added some salt to the garlic and ginger, and also a little bit of salt and pepper to the onion. So go easy on the salt. Just try to keep in mind where you've added it. You're going to need it in there, but you don't want to go overkill with it because it's not good for you. Too much salt's bad. Creates high blood pressure. Yeah, I kind of do too, Clarky, but I'm just saying if you don't want the hot pepper juice on your hands, it's not a bad idea. And then as it cooks, just give it one of these where you loosen it up a little bit. Just gentle shake on the fire, on the stove. If you're on a gas or propane stove, you want a medium heat. Don't jack it up too high. You want to be in control of it at all times. All right, so now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean these shrimp. These shrimps are 1620s, right? I'm going to clean these up. I'm only going to do 3 because it's just an accent, more or less. So peel, what you do is you grab the shell, right? Grab the shell, peel it open, pinch it, grab the shrimp, meat, the flesh, grab the shell, pull that off, right? Pinch the tail bit there, pull off the tail piece, then you got a nice clean shrimp. And you're going to rinse these off after. So again, when you've got the pan on the stove on a medium heat, you stay in control of it so you can multitask. See that? Let's pull that off. It's already been split at the processing plant, right? That's it. Make sure there's no shells because they're translucent. They're hard to see sometimes. So you want to make sure you pull them off. Normally I keep the shells, but I don't need them right now, so I'm going to discard them. Now you might be thinking, why would he keep the shells? Because you can make soups with it, a bisque with it, a sauce with it. There's many things you can make with shells from shrimp, crab, lobster, that kind of stuff. So don't be too quick to throw them away. I'm only doing 3 here. So and I have some in the freezer already, so I'm not gonna waste my time with it. Now look, see how can you see the juice coming off here? So that liquid coming off in the pan is from the meat itself, the onions, everything that's in here is starting to break down. So you're going to start seeing liquid forming. That's just a natural byproduct of it. Nothing to worry about, nothing to get worked up about. It's natural, and as it cooks, it'll evaporate. But we're going to get more coming off of it before it starts drying up, kind of thing. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so I'm pulling the pan off the heat. I got to go run and do something for Father. Just give me a minute. I'm going to shut the mic off. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. I just got to go do something for him. And I'll be right back. Just so if you don't hear anything, it's because the microphone's turned off. 2 minutes, I'll be right back. Thanks. Sorry about that, you guys. Almost forgot. I got to do certain things while I'm working, and I almost forgot to do that one. It's just a thing I have to do on a day-to-day basis here. But I was trying to get organized for the show, and I kind of got sidetracked. Anyway, that's taken care of. So now, when you deviate from your cooking, like I said, I told you I pulled off the pan. Now I'm putting it back on the heat to finish the cooking. Excuse me. Nuka Quantum Bunny, thank you. Luxo, cheers. All right, so just going to slice these up. I'm going to put these back in the fridge. After I cut them up, I'm going to put them back in the fridge. Because it's fish, shellfish, in fact, I want to make sure it stays cold because fish deteriorates very quickly and bacteria can grow on it very quickly. So we're just going to put it in a little bowl and put it back in the fridge. Cut it in half and then just slice it. stabilize it on either side. Be very careful with your hands. Cut it in half. Excuse me. And then just give it a little slice. Chop. Not so much a chop, but a slice. If you want, you can do the whole thing, but it's more awkward. If you're going to do the whole piece, right, just put little incisions. Oh, that was a big one. Do this one. Just put a little incision along different segments of the bottom, and then you can flatten it out. And then you can slice it like that. If you think it's too meaty up here, you can slice that in half if you want. And then just put that in that bowl, a bowl, not that bowl, a bowl, and then just put it in the fridge. You don't have to wrap it because you're going to be using it within the next 10 or 12 minutes anyways. Wash your hands, again, wash your hands. Touching raw fish, right? Earthbound misfit. No problem, my friend, no problem. Oh, wow. Uncle Stinky, congrats to them. That's pretty wild. Twitch Con. Wow, that sounds like a big deal. I've never been to Vegas before. Wow, congrats to them, Uncle Stinky. Earthbound misfit, no problem at all. All right, so we're still getting lots of liquid coming off of here. I think we're done with the cutting board now. Let's give the counter a little bit of a wipe. So I think I'm going to add more beef. See how it's starting to pull up on itself, right? I think I'm going to add a little bit more beef to this. Might as well use the whole package. I'd say there was about 2.5 pounds here of beef. Lean, extra lean ground. If you don't have extra lean, use, whatever you got. Now, before I touch the spatula or the handle of the pan, I gotta wash my hands like before. Not hot, but semi-hot water and soap. What I do with my hand soap, let me move this off to the side, is I use hand soap, but I also add some of this dish soap to it. So the dish soap cuts the grease. So if you're touching things that your hands are getting oily and greasy, there's this like an aloe vera. It's not this, well, it's a refill I used anyways, but anyway, add a little bit of dish soap to your hand soap, just a little bit. And it helps cut the grease off your hands when you're washing. And the other soap helps moisturize your hands because there's aloe and whatever in it. So just a little tip there if you want. Kayla, welcome in. Nice to see you. All right, put this back on the heat. Break down the meat. Give it a little mix because you don't want to keep cooking. You want to mix it around so that the onions, the garlic, and the ginger are mixing in with the meat, and they're not just sitting on the bottom of the pan overcooking. So you want to make sure that you're getting everything kind of evenly cooked. We're going to add the pepper mixture, which is celery, red and green pepper, red shepherd pepper, which is kind of sweet, green bell pepper, some wiri peppers, which are high-powered heat, and some, what was the other one? Banana pepper, I think, which is kind of mild. Yeah, banana pepper. And then we're going to cook this. We're going to sweat these off in the pan. And then we're going to add the mushrooms. And then at that point, you can add some fresh herbs, dried herbs, whatever you want. But the meantime, right now, you want to break down the meat and get it cooking and getting the extraction of the oils and the fats and the liquids coming out of everything. Now, the next thing I'm going to work on is some rice. So let me just do a quick tidy up here, because dishes are starting to pile up, and I don't want to be dealing with a huge mess here. So if you have a dishwasher, use it. Otherwise, take a few minutes, 5, 10 minutes, whatever it is, and start cleaning your kitchen. Otherwise, you're going to have a big mess on your hands after. Yes, Kayla, a little bit of rice today. So I love rice too, actually. So this here is a sticky rice. It's just a little bit here, maybe about a cup, if that. And I'm going to use that. So what I'm going to do is I wash the rice, fill it with kind of a cool but kind of a warm water. And the reason I say that is I find with the warm, kind of a semi-cool, semi-warm water, and then you brush it around, like you fill it about half or 3/4 with the water, and you swirl it around, and the warmer water loosens up any debris, dust, dirt that might be, not dirt, but you get like this dust kind of stuff on the rice. So you want to make sure you're cleaning it properly. And I do that 2-3 times, but then when I cook the rice, I cook it with cold water and some salt. And that's it. But for cleaning it, I just find I get a cleaner rice with warm water than cold. So I'm going to do that right now. See how the water's cloudy? That's the starch. That's the starch from the rice, but it's also dust. So just with your hands, like make your own agitator with your fingers. Just gently. I should have probably put it in a bigger, I'm going to put it in a bigger bowl. I know I'm going to make a mess here, I know it. Just agitate it. Right? See how cloudy it is? So that's starch and dust coming off the rice. Yes, Kayla, it's exactly what I'm doing. Exactly what I'm doing. Now, check those on the stove. Don't get too distracted with what you're doing on another section of the kitchen. Always check when you're cooking. Always keep an eye on it, constantly. See the dust and the starch coming off. See the liquid, now it's breaking down even more now. So I'm going to let it cook a few more minutes. Then I'm going to add the pepper mixture, and then we're going to do the mushrooms. So now you strain this off. Just gently do it. You don't have to put it through a strainer. Just drain it off in the sink. And then when you see the rice on the edge, stop. Refill it with warm water to about the same level. Agitate it. You do it I do it 3 times myself. So that's the first drain, right? That's the first drain. And we're going to do it again. All right. So I'm getting a nice cooked meat here. Now I'm going to add my peppers to it. I really smell those wary peppers. Deadly. So the longer you cook the meat with all these liquids and the other things in it, you're getting a good tenderizing of the meat, especially if it's extra lean, like this stuff. So the liquids help. All the liquids from the veggies will help keep the meat nice and tender. Put that back on the stove if you're removing it like me. Do your second rinse on the rice. So even as it's filling the bowl, even as I fill it, the water's going in, I'm agitating it just to loosen up any possible debris that's on there. See how it's getting cloudy again, the water? That's cleaning. You're cleaning the rice. Now, let me give you a tip here. This is the best way to clean it in a bowl or something. If you had the rice in a fine strainer and you were just rinsing it and kind of shaking it, you're not going to get it as clean as you would with this method. This method will trap. Like you'll clean it, but it won't come as clean as you would with the bowl, right? So you want to make sure you don't clean it in a strainer because it's not going to do a good job. So you can see it. The rice is settled back to the bottom. You can see how all these flaky bits on the top, that's all that debris coming off. So there's a little tip for you there. Right? Now drain it off again. If you have to do it 4 times, you do it 4 times. Some people do it 5 times. Right? See? So it's even cloudy there, and I've just agitated it a little bit when I was filling it up. Cauliflower rice. Earthbound Misfit, enlighten us, please. Is it cauliflower that's shredded up? It's a lot of dishes with cauliflower. I'm just curious if that's what you're talking about. I'm just mixing the peppers with the meat here on the stove. Oh, wow. Okay, thanks, Earthbound Misfit. Thank you for that. These are good tips in the chat. Thank you. Mushroom rice. Luxo, enlighten us, please. All right, again, now just agitate the rice. So we've done it twice. This is our third wash. See how there's less stuff coming off of it? That's not bad. It's not bad, actually. It's coming nicely. All right, see? There's still more liquid coming off of here. So it's got a nice fresh aroma to it now. You can really smell the peppers and the celery cooking here now. So everything's coming together nicely now. If you want to add soy sauce to this, you can add soy sauce. But just remember it's salty. So you don't want to put too much salt if you're going to add soy sauce. That's what I thought you meant, Luxo, but I think Kayla thought it was like the cauliflower rice. I think she thought it was something like that. Mushrooms, yeah, we're going to be, actually, I'm going to add them right now, as a matter of fact. Put this back on the stove. Just let it cook. Just leave it at the same heat and just let it cook. Yes, thanks, Clarky. That's nice. Very nice. Thank you. Kayla. Thanks everyone for coming in. I do appreciate it. Again, my apologies for the lack of cameras. As I said, I'm having literally technical difficulties with the cameras. So, the one camera anyway. Jessa Diamond Doll, welcome in, welcome in. So I don't want to really mess with it because Kayla, because it's father's camera. I don't want to really mess around with it and then make things worse. So I'm just going to leave it and let him deal with it. Now I'm done with my stock bag. I'm going to wrap that up. There's bits of turkey trimmings in there, celery, onions, garlic. Let's wrap it up. Put that back into the freezer, squeeze the air out of it, seal it. If you're using a Ziploc, if you're using a container, try and get as much air out as possible. If it's another bag, like a produce bag or a bread bag, try to get as much air out as you can. Yeah, okay. Earthbound misfit, right. It's not about me anyway, but anyway. It's about the food, right? So, now, see, check out the liquid coming off of it now. Look at it, right in here. See how much liquid's coming off of that? So that's why you want to cook it. Now you can do one of two things here. You can put a lid on it. So if you have a lid, this is from another pot. I could put that on there if I want. It's not going to completely cover it for this pan. For another pan it would. But it will help really amplify the cooking, like accelerate it. Or I can just jack up the heat to a medium-high and do it that way. If I put a lid on it, I'm going to get even more liquid coming out of it. So I'm going to avoid the lid. I'm just letting you know what your options are. I'm going to avoid the lid, and the reason is I don't want too much liquid coming off of it. So as it's cooking, I want it to evaporate, the liquid. So that's why I'm not going to use a lid. But you can use a lid if you want. Just keep an eye on it. So I'm going from medium to about number 7.5, 8. I'm going to get the heat going nice and hot. Well, so Earthbound Misfit, I've added salt. When I ground the when I ground the garlic and the ginger, I added some salt to it. I added salt to the onions when they started cooking. And then I've added salt to the beef as well. So you want to add salt, but do it in increments. Don't hit it hard with the salt too quickly, or you're going to have a really overly salted dish. Now, where's that rice? So look, here's the rice. Now it's on a nice high heat, it's medium high, so keep an eye on it, keep an eye on it. So you can see that it's getting clearer now. I can do it, so that's the third wash. I'll do one more wash of the rice and we'll be done. Then we're going to cook it. So as you fill it, agitate the water, agitate the rice. See, I've agitated it as it was filling. It's getting cleaner. See that? It's a lot of liquid coming off that dish now. Wow. I'm going to strain this off, then we're going to get it ready for cooking. That's pretty good. So because there's a lot of liquid in the pan, I'm not going to toss the pan. You know when you toss it to flip it over? I don't want to make a mess. There's a ton of liquid on here coming out of everything. Here, I'll show you. Look how much liquid. Look how much liquid's coming off of it. Everything cooking. That's a lot of liquid coming off there. Let it cook in that liquid. It will evaporate and add a lot of flavor to everything in here because that's the liquid coming out of everything. So if you let it simmer in that liquid, everything's going to infuse. All the flavors are going to infuse with one another, and then the mixture is kind of like simmering right in that liquid. So you're going to get a lot of good flavor happening. Then you can always drain it off at the end if you want. Or we can drain it off. We can thicken it with maybe a bit of cornstarch and make a sauce with it. That might be, actually, that's not a bad idea. Let's do that. And at that point, if you want, you can add a bit of soy sauce to it. Get your cornstarch, whatever brand it is you like. Grab your cornstarch. Get your rice into a pot. So now here's a trick for you here. Instead of measuring out the water, try to get it as level as possible. Right? A little bit of salt. And then add the water. Watch. Make sure it's level. Make sure the rice is level. Now, use your middle finger, and then the first notch, first joint on your finger, right there. See how the water's right there. So it's perfectly measured. So you know it's measured properly if you go to that line. Now I can put that on the stove, believe it or not. Put a little bit of cooking oil or butter in the rice, just a smidgen of it, to make sure that it's not going to stick. It's a sticky rice, but I don't want it to be sticky. That's why I'm putting it in there. So I'm going to add just a smidgen of butter in there. If you want the stickiness, don't put butter or oil in it. That'll help prevent it from sticking, that butter, and add a bit of flavor to it. Nice, Kayla. Nice, nice. Like to hear that. Good, good. So Kayla knows about that. Good. All right, so now check out the liquid coming off this dish. Look at the liquid coming off of it here. So what I'm going to do at this point, it's cooked enough. I have to add the shrimp to it, which won't take long. And the mushrooms, I want the mushrooms to dry out a bit. That's why I also want the liquid out of there. So I'm going to strain this off. Doesn't have to be perfectly strained, but we're going to strain it regardless. And just grab a colander or something. You can drain it off in. We add the shrimp last because it's going to cook the fastest. So you literally would put that in just before you serve it. Exactly. Kayla, thank you. Exactly. So check it out. Drain it off. Doesn't have to be perfectly strained off. I want as much liquid off there as I can. That's going to be fantastic tasting. Now, thanks, Earthbound Misfit. Appreciate that. That back in the pan. You can make fajitas with these, tacos, whatever you want. Straight up stir fry, whatever you would like, however you want to serve it, it's totally up to you. We're going old school with a little bit of rice. See that? I'm going to put that back on the heat. And there's made a bit of a mess here. So that's the liquid. So I'm going to show you how to thicken that up after. Hear that sizzle? That's because now we removed all that liquid, right? So we're going to get a nice sear on that meat now. Rutabaga, yeah, you could do that. Are you talking about Earthbound Misfit? Are you talking about thinly slicing it? LOL, he puts. We're getting a good sear on the meat now. Got all that liquid out of there. So that's the liquid we're dealing with. What we're going to do is we're going to add, so what you do when you use cornstarch, there's an actual way to do it. grab a bowl. Keep an eye on your rice. It's going to come up to a boil. You want to drop it down to a rolling simmer. Oh yeah, stir fry looks good now. Looks really good now. Now we're getting a good searing on everything here now. It's really getting nice, and you can really smell the aromas coming off of it. Really nice, really nice. So I've got it on 7.5 on the gauge. So when you're dealing with cornstarch, there's your liquid. So just kind of, if you want, you can use a spoon, or you can eyeball it. Make a mess when you do it. So that's pretty good. I'll mix that. That might even be too much, actually. Some cold water. No problem, Earthbound Misfit. Take care, my friend. Have a great weekend. I'll be in touch with you later. Take care, take care. Grab your fork, grab a fork. Lower the rice. So the rice has just come to a boil. Lower the rice. See the foam on the rice? So even after all that washing, it's still getting that foam. That's the starch. That's the starch for this type of rice, sticky rice. Lower that heat. Because otherwise because of the starch foaming up, you're gonna get a boil over if you don't lower the heat. Okay, I just dropped the heat back to number 5 on the gauge. We're getting a nice heavy-duty sear on the meat here, which is good. Like a browning, basically. Drop it from number 5 to number 3. Lower the heat. So grab your water, cold water. Grab a fork. Just make sure you want to dissolve the cornstarch in there. Try not to make a mess like me. Right? Now, we're not ready for it yet. Put it off to the side. The cornstarch will separate and settle on the bottom. Do not add any more water to this. Put it off to the side. And when we're ready to use it, we're going to remix it, and then I'll show you how to use it if you've never used cornstarch. Let's have a look at this meat mixture. So you can see the meat's getting darker there, right? It's starting to want to stick to the bottom a little bit, right? That's because we removed all that liquid. So it's basically done. We're just going to add the shrimp to it. Leave the rice on a low simmer till it's done. Add your shrimp. Again, you would be doing this on the stove. Put that on the heat and let it cook. So you create a well. So I made a well for the shrimp. I'm putting them in there. I'm going to cook them, then we're going to mix them into everything. So basically, this is what you're doing on the stove. You're doing this on the stove. You're just mixing the shrimp to cook it. You want to cook it, then you're going to mix it into everything else. You don't want to have bits of raw shrimp embedded throughout it. It'll cook very quickly on the heat. So just make sure you cook it, and then once it's cooked, shut the burner off and then mix it in thoroughly as best you can, so you get even distribution of it. In fact, I'm going to shut this burner off because it's because it's a glass stovetop. There's going to be residual heat coming off the glass because the glass acts as an insulator. So that's how I want to do it. J-Rob, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. Jangus, welcome in. Jangus, thanks for the subscription. Wow, 4 months. Wow, thank you. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sorry about the lack of cameras. One of them's malfunctioning, so I don't want to mess around with it because it's Father Damien's camera, so I don't want to mess around with it. So he'll have to take care of that issue on his own. All right, so thanks again, Jangus, for that. Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. J-Rob, hope you're doing well. Jangus, hope you're both doing well, actually. Now, shrimp is cooked. Okay, that's how fast it cooks. And the burner was off. So now just mix it in. The smell of the wiri peppers in here is phenomenal, phenomenal. Hopefully Father will enjoy this. Right, nice mixture here. It's just the shrimp, like if you use lobster or use shrimp, crab, whatever it is you want to use, it's just a garnish. It's just a little bit of an add-on, really. The main highlight is the beef and veggies, right? The shrimp, lobster, whatever you want to use, it's just kind of a bonus in there. So that's it. That's done. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to thicken this. We're going to thicken this liquid. So this is the liquid that we got off the meat and the veggies and everything. So that I want to use that to make a sauce. So if you look here, it's already separating. See, you can actually see the fork coming through there, right? That's the cornstarch. That's how fast it separates. So just gently mix it in so it dissolves, okay? Now what we're going to do is, it's going to separate again because I'm not ready for it. I'm going to put this in a pan, a little medium skillet, and I'm going to bring it to a simmer. And then I'm going to add the cornstarch to it, a little bit at a time. I got to keep an eye on this rice here too. So the rice is getting nice and thick. Look at it. So I don't want all that starch in there. So when I'm done cooking it, I'm actually going to rinse it. I'm going to strain it off in a fine strainer, and I'm going to take all that starch out of there. I don't want that in there. We're going to finish cooking it first, and then we're going to remove it. Look how thick it is. Right? For those of you, if you want the rice sticky, then leave it in there. You want all that starch in there, you can leave it in. I don't want it in there, so I'm going to take it out. So finish cooking it. Get your strainer ready. Get your strainer ready. If you have one with a handle, even better. But once that's done, I'm going to strain that off. So I'm going to strain off the starch, right? I'm going to strain it off. And then I'm going to, once the rice is in this strainer, then I'm going to put it under the sink and I'm going to rinse off the rice to get that starchy stuff off of there. Okay, Fiva, welcome in, welcome in. Happy Friday to you as well. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for your greeting. Welcome in. Clarky, you don't like the sticky rice? Yeah, I don't mind it once in a while, but I find it can be a bit much. So I'm putting this beautifully flavored liquid, which is the natural liquid coming off the veggies and the meat. We're going to bring it to a simmer, and we're going to thicken it with the cornstarch. I'll go over that with you as I do it. Put it on a low medium. Until you're ready to give it full attention, put it on a low medium. Okay, the rice is done. This is basically sushi rice here. Look at, see how it wants to stick? That's the starch in there. It's loaded with starch, this rice. And they want it sticky like that for when they're doing their sushi so that everything kind of holds together. Now, I'm going to take this to the sink and I'm going to rinse this off because I don't want that starch in there. Go easy with it because the problem now with this part, the problem is when you're taking the starch, when you're filling it, the water's not going to, I guess I should just show you it. The water's not going to want to drain as fast as you want it to. It's going to stay in there. So when you put the water in, it's going to pool. So while you're doing it, you need to kind of run a spatula through it to gently move the water so that it can penetrate and rinse the starch out the bottom part. Okay, so just take your time when you're doing that. And don't put the water on too high. Otherwise, you're going to have a big mess on your hands.